Hello everyone, Oliver from Scholarcy here. Approaching a literature review can be a hard task due to the sheer volume of reading required. So let's take a look at how Scholarcy can make this process much more easy and efficient. In this tutorial, we're going to assume that you've already defined your research question and you've already generated a complex search query to find articles related to your research question. Let's take a look at how Scholarcy can make the screening process more efficient. So I have a collection of flashcards that I need to screen, which I've brought into my Scholarcy library via an RSS subscription. At the moment, they're sorted from newest first. But something that can make it easier to tackle which papers are worth reading, which ones are more relevant, is to change the order from newest first to citations descending. This will give the more relevant articles because we can start with the ones that other papers have already screened and thought, this is relevant, this is interesting, so therefore they've ended up citing it. Now that we've filtered by citation, we're ready to begin the screening process. The screening process can be facilitated by using Scholarcy's headline and the snapshot feature. The headline will be available for you for every flashcard in the folder view. You can scroll down and you can read the headline really easily in the centre of the screen. If you decide that the headline is interesting, you want to get some more information, click onto the flashcard, then proceed with the screening process by reading the snapshot. After you've read the snapshot, you can decide whether you want to read more and go on to the highlights, the summary, and use the synopsis, or you can discard the paper if you think it's not relevant. Once you've finished screening an article, whether it's just from the snapshot, whether you've gone ahead and read the highlights, the synopsis, and the summary, it's important to categorise it into the accepted or rejected files for easy organisation. I recommend keeping hold of any rejected papers as they may become useful later on. After finishing the screening process, it's important to not stop there. It's a great time now to critically evaluate any articles that you've deemed to pass your screening process. Why do we want to do this? Well, it's a great point now to check that they do include any inclusion criteria that you found from a research question. But more importantly, it's important to make sure that they don't include any exclusion criteria, any articles that you definitely don't want to consider in your literature review. Let's take a look at how you can use Scholarcy to facilitate this. Let's now take a look at how we can use Scholarcy to critically evaluate an article. For this, I'm going to be using the Spotlight feature in conjunction with the comparative analysis. Why do I want to use these two features? Well, the Spotlight feature will show me any important information and where you can find it in the full text. This will allow you to get the surrounding nuance and fully understand the context of the claim that's being made. The comparative analysis will show us how the authors have considered previous work. Have they missed anything? Which methods have they used? Have they confirmed or contrasted any findings? For the Spotlight feature, let's click onto Spotlight. And from here, we can click onto the drop-down to choose between contributions, important points, and key concepts. I'm going to click onto important points, and for the sake of the demonstration, I'm not going to go through and read any of these. But what you'll do is you'll skim through these, and then once you find something interesting, you'll click onto it. Scholarcy will then scroll you down to the exact position where you can find this in the full text. You can then read the surrounding context and develop much more knowledge about that rather than just reading one line. So after we've gone through all of the Spotlight feature, we can take this new knowledge and then look at the comparative analysis section. So let's close the full text, and from here we can click onto comparative analysis. Scrolling through, you can see where they've built on previous research and if they've confirmed anything, and you can use this to understand how the authors of this study have considered other works. It's important to note, if a flashcard doesn't have a comparative analysis section, it probably means that they haven't considered much previous work. The last stage for us now is for us to synthesize all of this information into one document. This will make it much easier to compare results, compare methods, observe all of the key findings and takeaways from each study in one place. Let's take a look how. So let's suppose that I've screened and critically evaluated all of these articles, and I'm now ready to create a literature synthesis matrix. To do this in Scholarcy, it's really simple. Let's start by clicking onto Select, and then select All. Under Export, choose Excel on the drop-down, and then click Download. After a moment or two, the Excel file will be downloaded and ready for you to open. As you can see, we've got all of the useful information, including the abstract, keywords, contributions, all of the findings, results, and crucially, we've also got the comparative analysis section. To make this even more useful, we can add some splicers to make it easy to filter through all of the data. Let's select the first row, right-click, and click on to Insert. Let's give the splicers a bit of space by dragging this down, and then when you select the table, click onto the table option here, and click onto Insert Slicer. What I'm going to choose is the author, the journal that the article was published in, the year it was published, all of the keywords, since these are really useful pieces of information to filter between, and we can scroll through and choose if there's any more information that we're interested in adding. I'm also going to add citations. You can choose whether to add participants or not. I'm also going to include them. Click on to OK. And from here we get all of the slices, and we can arrange them along the top of the synthesis matrix so that they're easy to find. So now, if you want to go and investigate a particular keyword, for example, I can click onto one that's interesting, and it will now filter through all of the information and only show me any articles that have the keyword malaria. If I want to, I can add more by clicking onto the multiple select choice, and then I can click onto another one. So this will further filter down my information. So hopefully you can put these tips and tricks to practice when it comes to writing your next literature review. Hopefully they were useful. If you have any questions, please feel free to drop a comment in the comment section down below. Otherwise, thank you very much for watching.